What you're about to see may change your perception of what's happening behind bars.
The Channel 4 I-Team investigation exposes shocking video and photograph of what's apparently happening in our prisons. Inmates having a good time while your tax dollars pay for their food and housing. And perhaps the most stunning part of all of it is how the Channel 4 I-Team caught them. Here's our chief investigative reporter, Jeremy Finley.
Well, we uncovered all this simply by getting on Facebook. And you're probably thinking, well, you have to have a phone or a computer to get on Facebook, and inmates don't have either behind bars. That's the problem. These inmates are operating the pages, not someone on the outside. And what they're showing themselves doing is infuriating victims and has the state facing real questions. Prison's rough, right? You're in a cell all day, the food isn't good, little to no communication with the outside, right?
I believe I'm smoking better than everybody.
Well, welcome to Prison Life 2013. Drugs, smokes, mounds of snacks, cash, getting tattoos, the freedom to make music, even set things on fire, using forbidden technology to show it all off on Facebook.
This is the penitentiary, you hear me?
Back there relaxing, you know what I'm talking about?
Relaxing, eating pizza, getting high, while you're paying for them to be here.
Anybody who sees those videos, they're going to be sickened by it, they're going to be angered by it.
And we're not talking about just a few inmates who figured out how to get on Facebook. Not 10, not 20, not 50. A Channel 4 I-Team investigation found more than 100 inmates in Tennessee prisons with Facebook pages. Their profile pictures taken inside their cells. Pages the inmates are operating from behind bars to communicate with family, friends, fellow gang members, even with inmates in other prisons.
I guarantee you that when the commissioner sees this, there's going to be a reckoning, and there should be.
You know, these are murderers, rapists, and other convicted criminals, and they appear to be having a pretty good time in prison.
And I don't like it, but it's a problem that we face today, and it's something that we work hard on every day.
And once you see the videos, you'll see why crime victims advocates like Verna Wyatt are infuriated. What we've uncovered is like a highlight reel of audacity.
That's the world right there.
That's convicted murderer Rivera Peoples. Here's the contraband iPhone he uses to make the videos. Listen to his buddy talk about getting high behind bars.
I believe I'm smoking better than everybody.
Then he asked Peoples about how much money he's collected while he's been in prison.
How much money you got, Phil? 1,000?
I got 1,000. I'm 1,000. I'm definitely 1,000.
And he's not alone. Here's a photo we found of an inmate holding $200, and another inmate shared the same photo on his Facebook page, just like you would share a picture you liked. But let's get back to the videos.
You see me?
Peoples and his criminal pals are back. This time, it's daytime in the prison yard, telling everyone on Facebook that life behind bars, not so tough.
Between me and you, man, you feel me? This ain't half bad.
There's video of inmates watching TV, singing and rapping.
It was so real, it fills me with this nausea.
But none of that compares to convicted burglar Martez Wright, operating his Facebook page from inside the Shelby County Correctional Center, posting videos of his exploits while in a Memphis jail. First, he shows off what he says is marijuana. Then he talks about the side effects of smoking loud, a slang term for weed.
Man, everybody in here on this stupid loud. We all hungry.
And to satisfy his munchies, take a look at his spread.
Man, we hungry. We finna get ready to eat the feast. Scrumptious items that we eat on a daily basis.
What they're doing is breaking the law. They're rubbing everyone's face in it.
There's also a real criminal element to all this. The Channel 4 I-Team examined more than 100 communications and found this. 2 inmates in 2 different prisons having a conversation on the Facebook wall. One saying, "I need to get with someone at your prison, send me your number." And the other inmate posts the number to call. So here are 2 inmates communicating with each other in 2 different prisons.
Well, it is a problem. Obviously, this is instant communication.
Assistant Commissioner Tony Parker is in charge of security in Tennessee's prisons. How can a guy set a shirt on fire without your correctional officers knowing?
You have one officer and 128 inmates in a prototypical housing unit. It appears that they have took something and covered up the door.
Parker looked at every photo and every video we found.
This has to be embarrassing for you.
It's something I don't like, obviously.
State investigators have combed through 14 prisons and punished 70 inmates, all because of what the Channel 4 I-Team caught them doing.
And we've obtained even more photos, and they show convicted murderers living it up and showing it off to the world.
We're not going to observe Miss Sadler lying on her back. Her head was bloodied.
When Ivan Marino was convicted of strangling and murdering her grandmother, Michelle Elliott thought his days of enjoying life were over.
Yeah, when I saw him in court, I figured I'd never have to see him again.
Then the Channel 4 I-Team showed her this, Marino's Facebook page. That's right, an inmate's Facebook page. Despite being behind bars, he's posting updates, commenting on pictures, even showing himself playing the guitar. His profile picture taken inside his jail cell.
I started watering, I started shaking. I just couldn't believe I could see him again.
Marino is among the more than 100 Tennessee inmates the Channel 4 I-Team found on Facebook, operating their own social media pages, posting video, showing pictures, claiming they're using drugs, smoking, showing it off, all through using contraband smartphones. Convicted murderers, rapists, and other violent offenders enjoying all the perks of social media, including convicted murderer Brandon White, openly showing off two things you can never have in prison: his phone and his cash, $200.
That's not punishment. That is not any kind of a punishment. It's just like being out on the outside. It's still freedom for them.
White was convicted in the murder of Linda Wright's son.
We can never communicate again, and he has access to being able to communicate with the outside world.
As a result of our investigation, more than 50 phones were found. As soon as the Channel 4 I-Team brought our findings to the state, they immediately launched investigations in 14 prisons across the state, finding 53 cell phones, drugs, and a deadly weapon. 70 inmates now face disciplinary actions for having Facebook pages, and their Facebook pages now shut down. Both Marino and White's pages are now gone.
Tonight, the Channel 4 I-Team has found the party behind bars still underway.
And this time, people on the outside claim they're being harassed, even threatened.
There he is right there.
Lisa Thompson thought it was odd that her cousin Eddie Phillips had a Facebook page while behind bars. But when he actually called her, she wondered just how much freedom he had.
He said that he could get anything that he wanted.
And then came the texts. They were harmless at first, but she started getting texts asking if she had friends who would send sexy pictures, then asking for sexy pictures of herself. She pointed out how disgusting that was coming from her cousin, and the response, "I'm his cellmate. Your cousin lets me use his phone."
And that did it. I said, don't text me again.
But the texts kept coming. "I want to see you naked. I will send you one of me naked."
It was terrible. I felt harassed.
He's gonna get me too, and I'm scared to death.
And Norma Pendleton is joining others on the outside who say they're being harassed by inmates through cell phones. Pendleton is divorcing her husband and got an order of protection after he was charged and indicted with busting in her door, hitting her so hard that her front teeth, that she was once so proud of, were knocked loose. The assault charge sent him back to Riverbend Prison, where he was serving time for murder.
And that will be the number there.
So imagine her surprise when an unknown cell phone number showed up on her phone, and she says her husband was on the other line saying this.
Oh, how much, is it going to take for you to drop these charges?
Now to the Channel 4 I-Team investigation that launched a TBI investigation into one of the state's most secure prisons.
Tonight, you will see and hear how the Channel 4 I-Team collected phone calls and texts that expose the lack of security in what's supposed to be one of the most secure prisons in the state.
If Riverbend Maximum Security Prison is so secure, How did an inmate send the Channel 4 I-Team these pictures from inside? How did we have dozens of conversations while he's locked up in here? You and I right now are talking, and you're in Riverbend.
I'm sitting in my cell on a cell phone talking to you doing this interview.
The answer is obvious. Inmate David Faulkner gets cell phones smuggled to him. And we're about to show you how he says he gets them. It all started in September when I started recording conversations with David Faulkner. He sent me pictures of his cell, the prison, his stash, his tobacco, and then this note that gave instructions of how Faulkner was to get another phone. $400 wrapped in plastic, $200 extra for weed. Let me know ASAP before I leave tonight. Signed, Simmons. Who is Simmons? Faulkner says he's a correctional officer.
Over the last 18 months, I've probably bought 20 phones from him, probably 1,000 packs of cigarettes, probably at least a pound of weed.
Hoping that coming forward with what he knows would get him moved out of Riverbend into another prison, Faulkner enlisted the help of his fiancée, Sandy Jordan, to give all his information to the State Department of Correction.
They basically all just kind of laughed at me. They didn't, they didn't feel that there was any credence to this.
So Jordan and Faulkner began to work with the Channel 4 I-Team to gather more information, starting with texts of how to arrange getting a phone inside the prison.
A guard was texting me during his shift.
When Jordan suggested they meet at her hotel near the prison, the text reply, "Too close to work, that's way too risky." That's when Jordan made a bold move and recorded the conversation with the guard.
I have a lot to lose to do something like this.
You take a risk like I do.
I'll be honest with you, it scares me.
We both have a lot to lose.
And it can be anything I want, phone, weed, anything that he needs, right?
Yeah.
The cost for the contraband, $3,000.
Like I said, I don't mind helping him out, but because of what it is, it has to cost him because of the risk that I take.
Then another request by text. I want to know what you look like. Jordan responded, and this picture was sent in return. The TBI confirms that's Kevin Simmons, a correctional officer at Riverbend Prison. When the Channel 4 I-Team brought all this to investigators with the Department of Correction, they contacted the district attorney, who called in the TBI. That's when the TBI asked Jordan for her help.
I wanted to make sure that they knew that we had this kind of leverage that they needed to act.
The TBI confirms to the Channel 4 I-Team they took Jordan to this hotel in Mount Juliet, and she arranged for Simmons to meet her. Inside the hotel, the TBI confirms they gave Jordan $3,000, a cell phone and tobacco to give to Simmons. And Jordan says as soon as the transaction was made, TBI agents moved in.
They came into the room as soon as he had the money, placed a gun straight to his head, which was quite shocking to me.
Afterwards, Simmons was fired by the Department of Correction. The TBI's case is now in the hands of the district attorney. After repeatedly trying to reach Simmons at his last known address and by phone, I just spoke with him this afternoon. Simmons denies writing this note and says he didn't intend to deliver the phone to David Faulkner. For now, that's all he will say. Jordan says the TBI has their work cut out for them.
I believe they want to get the network within the prison because there's more people involved.
This was the first time we've been able to get to Commissioner Derek Schofield. We'd asked for interviews with him and were either denied or given an interview with someone from his administration. And as we saw today, the commissioner wasn't quite ready to talk.
I'm going to start by asking some questions about the cell phones. We've been doing a lot of stories about this.
I understand. Can we talk about budget today?
I got questions for you as well about the cell phones. So if these people want to ask about that, that's fine.
We'll do a separate one for you.
And we didn't mind to wait to do a separate interview. Once the budget questions were over, we were ready for our interview.
All right, Commissioner, we do an interview over here.
But it appears we misunderstood.
Today he's saying we're doing budget. On the other issue, we'll talk to you at another time.
And there goes the commissioner right into the elevator.